Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee Time with Crypto. Hey DJ Ben Ben, how's
Hey,
your week been?
it's been great.
You know,
Beginning my way through the week.
this has now become like my highlight of the week. And every Friday you get like some crazy action in the market. I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed
it's always
today.
a sell-off.
Well, today has kind of been like flat, but I think at 8 a.m. this morning, Eastern time, there was like
Yeah,
this jump to 40K. And then, but I wasn't paying attention to the market. But then, yeah, it just came right back down.
and now we're
So
approaching Saturday and the infamous Sunday, which, hey,
So that's the overall market. It has basically been really choppy, sideways. How's your degen plays been?
my DGen plays like the latest one has been actually okay. I was able to pull out my initial investment and just let it ride. Um, but honestly, the previous ones not looking too good.
Yeah, so I think just to give everyone a little bit of a channel update, last week, degen Ben Ben and I, we did get together. We tried to do this pre-recording, and I haven't had time to get that edited and published. So we're going back to this live stream, so at least we have some content out there for you guys. Uh,
Yeah.
so we're gonna try different things to hopefully improve our stream. So any feedback or comments is very much appreciated. All right, so today I think we're going to talk a little bit about Ethereum, as we talked about Bitcoin the first stream, and naturally, I think a lot of people these days they might even be more interested in Ethereum. And I think DJ and Ben Ben, you said that you have a lot of things that you want to know about Ethereum as well. So
Oh, for sure.
hopefully, uh, hopefully we'll all learn something today.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
so I guess we're gonna go with a disclaimer first.
Yeah. So disclaimer: this is not financial advice, and
Yeah.
we are not financial professionals. This is entertainment and education.
Yep.
All right, so I thought we'd start off here. When we talk about Ethereum, the place to go is ethereum.org, which is the website for the Ethereum Foundation. Now, the Ethereum Foundation, they are basically an organization that looks after the developers. And I see them as basically the team of core devs. And here on their homepage, they tell you, basically what is Ethereum. And if you look at this picture, it tells you a lot already. It tells you they're really community driven, and they talk about technology. So what kind of technology? We're talking about a distributed ledger technology, basically blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And here they refer to thousands of decentralized applications, and that is basically your network. So with blockchain, we're really trying to solve this trilemma. Okay, there. So in order to become the internet of these digital assets, there are basically three things that needed to be solved. The first is decentralization. So that's where um, the community comes in. Basically, you want the control of the blockchain to be distributed so that not a single party can control the blockchain. And the second thing is you want security. And the third thing is scalability. So we'll take a look at all three of these things to kind of evaluate how good Ethereum is, and look at kind of their roadmap to see what's coming up in the future. So a lot of you may have already be very familiar with Ethereum and even know that Ethereum is moving from uh, Ethereum 1.0 to Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah.
And Ethereum 1.0 is a proof of work blockchain, and they're basically moving to Ethereum 2.0, which is a proof of stake system. And the reason why they're doing that is to kind of improve on this third point here, scalability. Okay.
Okay. And that's mainly like sort of like the gas fee problem that it was experiencing, I guess.
So scalability is you're right. The reason why in the past we've seen Ethereum experience very high gas fees because of the congestion that they experience in the network, and that has to do. So basically, there's only a limited number of transactions per second that Ethereum is capable of handling. So when we're talking about scalability, it's really about scaling up the transactions that the network can handle, and at the same time, making it less expensive to use. Okay. So the first point, we'll try to go back through those three things. The first thing is decentralization, and that's why I go back to this Ethereum foundation, because at the very start of any project, it's really driven by the core team of developers. And you basically don't want one party, usually the developers, to have a very high degree of control. So I always want to start off with the team. So here, like the Ethereum Foundation, you can see here, they're basically a non-profit, and they support Ethereum by funding the critical development of Ethereum-related technologies. Okay. So here I wanted to show that the Ethereum Foundation controls quite a lot of ETH. Okay, they have like 353,000 ETH. Okay, so what I wanted to show here is basically the Ethereum Foundation, which is one of the key stakeholders of Ethereum. They're not like even in the top 10 of holders for Ethereum. And you have a lot of, like, if you look at this list, a lot of people will recognize that a lot of the major exchanges actually hold the vast majority of Ethereum. Yeah. And so this is how you have this ecosystem where it's decentralized in the sense that not one party, okay, controls the network, but then all of the interested parties have a major stake in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these are Ethereum mining pools.
Uh-huh.
And although anyone can be an Ethereum miner, usually what happens is that you join a mining pool so that you don't have to rely as much on luck, well, in terms of your mining rewards. You join a mining pool, and that mining pool has the combined computing power of everyone who is part of that mining pool. And then when they successfully mine an Ethereum block in the blockchain, then that reward gets split between everyone in that pool. So you can see like the top mining pool, Ethermine, it controls almost a third of the hash power. And this is kind of one of the reasons why some people point to this and say, this is a point of centralization, because maybe the top 2 or 3 mining pools put together can potentially control over 50% of the hash power. Here I have a infographic from 101 Blockchains. I want to give them credit. And it's basically telling one thing about why Ethereum is important. And basically they set standards, because without standards, it's very difficult for one smart contract or one protocol to interact with another smart contract, or for anyone to interact with a smart contract. And there are and even the tokens like Ethereum or any kind of blockchain project that has its own token, these are actually smart contracts that operate on the blockchain. So why this has to do with the security of the blockchain and of the like the whole ecosystem is because the smart contracts itself, they're a point of vulnerability because it's just basically code, and all code has the potential for vulnerabilities. And Ethereum, it's been around long enough that, especially with these standard contracts for the tokens, that it gives you kind of like this peace of mind that these contracts have stood the test of time. Okay, and that gives Ethereum and Ethereum smart contracts one of the biggest advantages over any other up and coming smart contract platform. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because, like, if you were a developer and you wanted to build on a blockchain, one of the things that you have to decide on is which smart contract platform are you going to build on, which smart contracts are you going to use. And you're almost certainly going to pick Ethereum because the ERC standard has been around the longest, and it's just one less risk for you to take as a developer. The other thing about security is, like, right now as a proof of work blockchain, the more computing power behind that blockchain, the more secure that blockchain is. Okay, that's basically why Bitcoin, having the most hash power of any blockchain, is considered the most secure blockchain, because you basically need 51% of all of the hash power in order for you to attack the network.
So what does, say now it's going to go to proof of stake, right, for 2.0? Like, what does that sort of enhance? Or
Ethereum 2.0, it scales using something called sharding. Okay. So instead of having one blockchain in one shard, they can have I think it's planned to have 64 different shards. So basically, like, splitting up that one blockchain into 64 parts, so that each of them can be run almost as like a separate fragment of the blockchain. Mm-hmm. So it's mainly for scalability.
So it's like security-wise, it's going to be the same.
So I think the challenge is when you move from proof of work to proof of stake, one of the challenges is how do you maintain security? Or like I mentioned, like the security with a proof of work blockchain comes down to how much hash power you have, mm-hmm. which is so if you have a lot of hash power, you really are quite secure, because in order to get hash power, you need the ASICs, which are like special computing equipment for mining crypto, and you need like power, electricity, and you need physical space. So it's not so easy to accumulate a lot of hash power. But on the other hand, when it's proof of stake, all you need is 51% of all of the value that's mm-hmm. in that blockchain. So like a very, like, a non-economic actor, like a sovereign state, or like even someone who is very wealthy, can potentially exert a lot of influence on that blockchain. Okay. Right? So this is kind of this next image is I wanted to show, to put the 353,000 Ethereum tokens that are held by the Ethereum Foundation in context, because the total supply of Ethereum is 118 million ether. Now that's a lot of ether. And here you can see how it's divided. So the genesis, like, because we're interested in really like how distributed these tokens will be after Ethereum 2.0, right? So right now you can see here when Ethereum first launched, they had a Genesis event, and about 72 million ether was minted, at the time. I think it's like basically a pre-mine. And after that, here, these are the mining rewards. So 44 million in mining rewards, and Uncle rewards are basically another type of mining reward. And the ETH2 staking rewards are the ETH that's right now being paid to the people who are staking their Ethereum in advance, to secure the ETH2 blockchain on what they call the beacon chain.
Okay.
And then you have here you have 1.9 million ether, and they're burned fees. So not too long ago, there was a Ethereum improvement proposal, EIP 1559, and basically the whole point of that proposal was to make it so that instead of the fees going to the miners, the fees would be burned. Mm-hmm. And that's where this 1.9 million fees, like ether, that's being burnt has gone to. So what's significant about this is that we basically have close to, or we're getting close to 50% of the current Ethereum supply having been generated after the Genesis event. Okay, so because at the Genesis event, you can imagine we're talking about like a small group of people who knew about this thing, and who knows how many of those people are still holding like a lot. But we saw before like the top 21, so we know now how distributed it is. Mm-hmm. But it's good to see that even compared to the Genesis, we're expecting like a lot of these Ethereum tokens is really distributed to regular hodlers and traders. Yeah. So this is talking about Ethereum 2.0, an event that's coming out in Q2 2022. That's this year in June or July. This is the merge of Ethereum 1.0 with Ethereum 2.0. So first of all, the first thing that you guys need to know is that if you're hodling ETH, you don't have to do anything. Because some people might not know, they might have heard about ETH 2.0, but they don't know what will happen to their ETH, once Ethereum 2.0 comes, because they have, currently you can stake your ETH, and you know that when you stake your ETH, it's irreversible, so you can't convert your staked ETH back to Ethereum. There are protocols that allow you to do like liquid staking, mm-hmm. but if you wanted to like actually stake your coins in the beacon chain, you don't get them back, and even after the merge, you can't convert it back into ETH right away. Okay, so there's like a schedule where that ETH can be unlocked and you can convert it back into Ethereum.
Okay.
Okay, so right now Ethereum 2.0 is called the beacon chain, but once the merge happens, Ethereum 1.0 is just going to be the first of the 64 shards that would make up the Ethereum 2.0 blockchain.
What are these 64 shards?
They're just for scaling. Okay, so if you can think of the current Ethereum blockchain as a single shard, right? So each shard has the transaction throughput of the current, of at least the current Ethereum blockchain, but actually better because now you're moving into a proof of stake system. So every shard will have its own validators.
So I'm just wondering though, like there's this whole thing about going to proof of stake. So how does that make it more sustainable, like as to proof of work?
So sustainable can mean a lot of different things. Like some people, they point out that proof of work blockchains actually is very bad for the environment in terms of that kind of sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
It uses a lot of power, and when you go to proof of stake, you now no longer have to solve these really difficult algorithmic challenges that to mine these block rewards, and instead you just you can just use your Ethereum tokens in proof of stake to secure the network. So that uses the whole entire network uses a lot less power. But sustainability can also refer back to scaling, right? It's because as more and more people use Ethereum and use blockchain, if you have this, if you can increase the transactions per second, you keep the fees lower, the blockchain is faster, and then you get a better user experience, and that helps the sustainability of the blockchain. All right. So now I'm kind of getting into like whether Ethereum is a good investment or not. So we kind of like touched on, we started with what's Ethereum, and then we talked a little bit about Ethereum 2.0. But here I wanted to show that basically these are the block rewards per day that Ethereum is generating. So here it's 13,629 ETH per day. Mm-hmm. And this actually works out to about 5 million ETH per year. So that's the inflation rate, roughly.
Okay.
Okay. And you can think, okay, is that a lot? Is that a high inflation rate? Well, going back to this slide, we have 118 million total ETH. So it's under 5%. Just from this mining rewards, and we're not even talking about like the burnt fees or anything like that. And so when we look to see if Ethereum is going to be a good investment, really you want to know what is Ethereum, right? So what is the Ether digital currency? Like, well, to a lot of people, they look at the technology, they look at how dominant Ethereum is, and they're like, okay, there's something to this. They see that it's worth a lot of money, and they just buy it, right? Like that's probably is it. What's your perspective on that?
I have some friends that are just because they don't really know about DeFi and they think of crypto. Basically, they're only thinking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And after, usually what happens is when we know about Ethereum and everything that's built upon it, a lot of people would suddenly think, hey, you know what? Ethereum, there's a lot more utility. So of course, maybe we should put our crypto investments in Ethereum instead of
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
So like, I mean, when we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about how it's kind of like the digital gold or developing store of value. You know, there's a component where it's gold and a component where it's a risk asset, but at least we have a better idea of what this thing is, even though it may be the safe haven of risky assets, right?
Yeah.
But for Ethereum, you know, what's Ethereum or what's Ether?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to me, Ethereum at its core, it's like, kind of like a commodity. It's you need it to pay for the transactions. You know, it's the gas fees that are on Ethereum. So I mean, Bitcoin is also used to pay for Bitcoin transactions, but Ethereum is meant for to power these smart contracts. And it remember going back to this to the three things, the blockchain trilemma, how Ethereum can be the internet of digital assets.
Mm-hmm.
It has to power all of these transactions. So there's going to be a lot of Ethereum that's needed just to pay for gas fees. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's all about commodities, and with commodities, it's all about, well, with any asset, it's about supply and demand. But especially with commodities, you have things like demand and supply shocks.
Yeah.
Okay. So here is a graph that shows kind of like the supply growth of Ethereum. You can see that it was growing linearly at first, and it starts to taper off. And recently, it really is, kind of flattening almost.
Mm.
Okay, so it's very obvious that the inflation of Ether was faster at the beginning, and now it's slowing down quite significantly. And this is not even taking into account of the Ethereum that's been lost. And so some people, once they factor that in, they pretty much see Ethereum supply as not really growing at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So here, this is also on the ETH 2.0 tokenomics. So it's about the staking rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Here, like the staking rewards that are planned for Ethereum 2.0. Like right now, Ethereum has about, I think, 25 million ETH stakes, something like that. So we're down, we're somewhere between 10 mil and 30 mil here somewhere, right? Okay, so all of this is in the past now. So if you were one of the earlier stakers in staking ETH 2.0,
yeah,
you would get like an 18% return.
Like even today.
No, because this is basically the more ETH that is staked, the lower the rewards will be. So right now we're around this level here where it's 25 mil, so closer to the 30 mil mark. So if you were to stake it,
the validators are getting like,
you'd get a little bit more than 3%, right? You get maybe 4% right now, in terms of the number of ETH that you get back for staking. But the point being here is, I think this graph, this chart is showing 100 million ETH here, and you know that like the current supply is 118 ETH, and we're looking at like a flat to potentially deflationary token supply. So this 100 million ETH will tell you that the inflation rate is going to be somewhere like 1.7, 1.8%.
And it just maintains its value basically.
Yeah. If we get to 100,000 ETH staked. Okay. So like, but right now we're already here. Like we're already close. So the annual inflation, we can say, let's say it's even this figure here, just to play it safe.
Yeah.
remember the one of the slides I showed where there was the block rewards per day, and I mentioned that
Yeah.
there was about 5 million ETH that's generated in a year right now. That's the rate. Once we switch to Ethereum 2.0, the inflation rate becomes this. So from 5 million ETH generated, it's going to go down to immediately, basically to less than a million ETH.
Okay.
So that's like an 80% drop.
Yeah.
So this is like a really bullish thing for ETH holders. Because like I said, if you understand commodities, you'll know that it's either a demand shock or a supply shock that will lead to a big increase in price. And
that would be the supply shock.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge supply shock.
Oh. Cool. Good to know now.
All right, so now I'm just going to run through. We're pretty much like near the end of my what I wanted to present, but I wanted to go through some of the other proof of stake blockchains and show you kind of what the rough amount of tokens that are staked. So here, this is Solana, and 74.3% is the amount of Solana staked. Okay, this is Avalanche. Avalanche has 50.72, and Terra 41.59.
How do they count this participation?
So participation means that this is the number of tokens staked out of all of the eligible tokens that can be staked.
Oh, okay.
So you have to remember, the more tokens, the more valuable the network is, the more expensive it is to acquire token, like 51% of the network. Yeah. Okay, you need 51% of the network in order to attack the blockchain for sure. But it's 51% of the staked amount.
Yeah.
Because it's the stakers that are contributing to the validators. But what I want to show here is that 40 to 70% of the supply of a proof of stake token is usually locked up and being staked. So right now we have 118 million ETH. None of that is locked up.
Oh.
Okay, except you have Ethereum that's in the exchanges, some that are in the foundation, but none of that's going to change. It's just that all of those will also be part of the stake, like the stake pool, potentially. But the rest of the Ethereum, that's all in the current circulating supply. But once we move from Ethereum to Ethereum 2.0, and it's just, as a side note, some people don't realize this, but there is something called a difficulty bomb that's hard coded into Ethereum. What this means is that at a certain block, the difficulty of mining Ethereum will be so high that no miners can mine Ethereum anymore, forcing them to switch to Ethereum 2.0. So it's not a question of whether they will go, it's just whether
eventually
it's whether this difficulty bomb hits. So this difficulty bomb was originally scheduled to be like a long time ago, and they kept on pushing it back. So like you saw, the merge is scheduled to happen in Q2 of this year, and that's when the difficulty bomb is right now, if they don't push it back further. So once we shift, once the merge happens, you can expect 40 to 70% of ETH becoming staked, and potentially, upwards to, 100 million ETH staked. I don't think it will be quite that high, but definitely, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least like 50 to 70% of that ETH locked up, and that will take out even more of the supply of ETH.
Yeah, because that won't be counted in the market cap.
Yeah. So So that is like huge supply shocks on multiple levels.
Yeah.
So here, right now, Ethereum 2.0, only close to 8% staked.
Oh.
So here, 24.3 million. So I said 25, it's actually 24.3. So I was pretty close.
Yeah. And it's only 7.92. Oh.
So we talked about the supply, which is one important factor. Here, I'm basically trying to show you the demand, right?
Yeah.
Here is this is DeFi Llama, one of my favorite sites again, and it's showing the total value locked in all of the popular blockchains and how Ethereum, all the smart contracts blockchains, and Ethereum is over 50% in value locked, which means that all of the popular applications are on Ethereum, and all of the best NFTs are on Ethereum. All of the best developers are there or working on it. So there's a lot of demand for Ethereum, for ETH that is needed to drive all of this activity. And if you believe that Web3 is going to continue to grow, and it is one of the fastest growing sectors, then Ethereum is going to capture a lot of that growth just because it's so dominant.
Yeah.
So when you have a supply shock and you have growing demand, that is kind of like the recipe for the bull case for Ethereum.
Okay.
Right? So not only does Ethereum get used in gas fees, because first of all, we're expecting gas fees to come even further down.
Yeah.
But with lower gas fees, there will be the potential for even greater transactions. Okay? So you can see this by looking at blockchains like Polygon, which have far less lower fees than Ethereum, but they even surpass Ethereum in terms of the transactions that are done on those blockchains.
Yeah.
Another way Ethereum gets locked up is when people put Ethereum in liquidity pools. So the more apps that are on a blockchain, the more tokens that are issued, and the more tokens that are issued on that blockchain, usually there will be a liquidity pool against the native currency.
Yeah.
And that needs to be held in 50-50. So that's why the total value locked on a blockchain is so important to the market cap of that blockchain. All right, so here, this is a cool website, Ultrasound Money. It basically allows you to watch Ethereum burn. Here you have the burn rate on the left, and it tells you the current supply growth. It's about 3.8%. Like I said, it's about 5 million ETH per year. And it's cool because it allows you to simulate the merge. So once the merge happens, you see the supply of ETH actually goes deflationary. This is before accounting for tokens that are lost. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. Hope you learned a lot about Ethereum 2.0 today. And if you have any questions?
For me?
Yeah, go for it.
Coming from equities, I was always wondering. So wouldn't the current price of it of ETH or ETH already priced in after becoming 2.0? Since everybody knows it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Or is it different in crypto that actually isn't priced in until it happens?
So the reason is because it's not an equity, right? It's a commodity. So you have these demand and supply shocks, like we mentioned, and they can happen until it happens.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I should be holding some ETH.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me. I think the last two sites you gave a pretty good illustration of what's going to happen.
Okay. So, um, like I said, I hope you guys learned a lot, and we do want to try to keep this to as short as we can. I know like these videos do tend to get long and
Yeah.
um, and people start losing interest. But if you have questions and comments and feedback, love to hear from you guys. Even if it's something to do with like the format or something that you want us to take a look at and cover, that any feedback, would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
With that said, we'll call it a night and have a great weekend, everyone, and stay safe out there.
Yep. Hope we get a bull run soon. Later, guys.
All right, later.